Hey YouTube, I don't normally make videos, and I'm doing this with my phone, so I apologize if it doesn't look very good. But I just wanted to put my 2 cents in on the Retronaut game console. I've had it for over a week now, so I've run into some issues that I think people should be aware of before they decide to purchase one. Um, First of all, the 64 games, all the 64 games that I've tried at least, do seem to be a little laggy. They're not optimized very well. They're playable, but there are periods of lagginess that make it less than enjoyable, I suppose. Through all this. Slowed down a bit there. Like I said, it's playable, but you can see it slowing down. It seems like when there's a lot happening on the screen, it seems to affect it the most. And there it goes, really slow right there. And this is with pretty much every 64 game that I've tried, unfortunately. Now you can hook your system up to a computer and download updated firmware, I suppose. However, I live in a camper. I do not have access to the internet right now, and I don't know if that'll make it any better or not. Some of the other issues I had as far as the Dreamcast games go, I can't get the Dreamcast games to work at all. I'm not even going to attempt it right now, because as soon as I start a game, it acts just like the regular Dreamcast system where I have to input the date and the time, and for some reason it doesn't allow me to do that, so I can't even play a game. And as a matter of fact, from that point on, I can't do anything. I have to manually restart the system. None of the hotkeys on the controller even work to get me back to the main menu. As far as other games, like PlayStation games, they seem to run very well. I'm very happy with that. However, I did request a few specific games to be added on here, and unfortunately, where did it just go? Unfortunately, in order to make room for the games that I had requested, they deleted some games. Some of the games they deleted were games that I did not want them to delete. I asked for the first medieval game since I noticed the second one was on their list, and I figured, well, why would I want the second one without the first? But then they deleted the second one, so now I'm just left with the first. They deleted Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy IX, or no, it looks like I have 9. Well, they deleted Final Fantasy VIII, which I was very upset about. That was one of my favorites. However, like I said, they do seem to run pretty well. Atari 5200 games has recently come to my attention. I haven't tried all of these systems yet. Most of them, however. The Atari 5200 games do not work at all. Apparently there's some kind of licensing issue, so I haven't even tried the 7800, but anytime you try to run a 5200 game, it just won't let you. Another issue I have is there was a Super Nintendo game, a specific Super Nintendo game I tried to locate on here before. Could not find it. I can't remember what the name of that game was off the top of my head, but I couldn't find it. So I think that this system potentially does not have a full library for every system, which is unfortunate. However, you can bet that the most popular games are probably there. Every other game that I've tried to find, I've been able to locate without an issue. It was just that one game. But that does, again, lead me to believe that they don't have full libraries as advertised. Which, another issue I had with them is that they did advertise that the system has over 20,000 games, which is one of the main reasons people want to purchase it, right? All those games. But if you look on here, if you hover over the system name, you'll see at the bottom it'll pop up with how many games it has in that system. Atari has 107 games. Well, that doesn't count because you can't play those. Game Boy has 52 games available. Game Boy Advance has 129. Well, my problem here is if you actually go through every system and add those totals up, I have a whopping total of 6,104 games, which is nowhere near the 20,000 that I was promised. And I did opt to purchase the deluxe console, so that's pretty frustrating. I don't know how they can get away with advertising 20,000 games and you get a quarter of that. Now, again, I did request a few specific games, so the actual number of games that you have might differ by a few, but I would expect it to be pretty close to just around 6,000 or so. And another issue is that a lot of these games are on multiple systems, like Chrono Trigger, for example. I've got a copy of that on the PlayStation, I've got a copy of that on the Nintendo DS, there's another copy of that on the Super Nintendo, so altogether, your unique games is probably around 5,000 unique games on this system. Again, significantly less than the 20,000 that was promised. So really, was it worth it? I mean, I paid over $200 for this. Was it worth it? Well, I've heard a lot of people say that you can just get the parts, the case, and the Raspberry Pi, and the 8-bit-do controllers for around $100 or so, and so ultimately it would be cheaper to just do this yourself. I am not very technologically savvy. As I said, I don't really have internet access, so this was the easiest way for me to go about getting all of these games for $200, and still about 5,000 games. A lot of them I will never play, but all these Super Nintendo games, 782 Super Nintendo games, I mean, these work very, very well. There's a lot of games on here that I really love that I probably never would have had the chance to play again without this device. So yeah, I'd say it was worth it for me. I just wish in the beginning that Retronaut had been a little more honest. Again, what really gets me is the 20,000 games. Where the hell did they get 20,000 games from? But other than that, it was definitely worth it. I've got all the Nintendo games, the Super Nintendo games that I absolutely love. They did seem good about adding the games that I requested them to add. And other than that, I really haven't had any other issues. These are just some things I think that you should be aware of before purchasing your own.